transportation should mean access to jobs and economic opportunity, but that's only true if you can afford to ride it. And so all over the country and all over the world, cities are fighting inequality by providing reduced fares for public transit for the poorest members of their community.
That's right.
We have discounts on the subway and bus for seniors, for students, for disabled people. We have transit benefits so that professionals, middle-class people get sometimes a big tax break for riding public transit. And it's time to expand that to low-income people as well. So we'll hear from a bunch of folks. Right now, I want to introduce our lead partner who's producing a report that is bringing this information to public attention from Community Service Society, the president and CEO, David Jones.
So this report was an eye-opener for us as well. This is a research paper drawn from what we describe as an unheard third, one of the largest polls of its kind in the country. We polled nearly 1,400 people by phone. This is last July and August. And the shock that came out was we found more than a quarter of low-income New Yorkers can't afford the subway fare and the bus fare, and are being forced to make horrible choices of not being able to provide food and having trouble getting housing, basically just trying to get to and fro a job, far less taking their kids out to the museum or anywhere else, or the doctor. So what this showed us was it gets even worse, however, for Black and Latinos in the city of New York. There the numbers skyrocket to 41% of the Latino community who are low income and 31% of African Americans. That's appalling in a city that's calling for an end to income inequality. I think John mentioned just how terrible this becomes. You'll probably hear later. Last year there were nearly 29,000 people who were caught fare avoidance, jumping over turnstiles. This is something straight out of Les Miserables. That's crazy, that people have to risk getting arrested just to get to work or get to a doctor's appointment. So we joined with the Riders Alliance and all the people here because this is intolerable. And it's time for the city and state to do what other large cities have already done, which is start to provide the very least they could, a half fare for people who fall below the poverty line. We think this is absolutely necessary here. And we call upon our governor and mayor, because this is a time they are talking about progressive policies for low-income people. This is perhaps one of the most vital areas they can go. It now constitutes, for many people, nearly 10% of their annual income. That's intolerable. That buses and subways caught in that context. I think this is the time to do something about it. We don't expect this to be an easy campaign. This is the first act of what can be many years of work, but we intend to win this campaign. That's the only thing we can do to really serve the people of the city of New York. Now, I'm honored now to introduce Tish James, a friend, a public advocate. I've known her so long, we shouldn't be talking. She's not really that old, but she's a great leader for all New Yorkers, particularly people.
Low-income New Yorkers rely heavily on public transit. Low-income New Yorkers struggle to pay for public transit. And in this report, there is a quote from Christine M. I was coming home from my third job interview, and I had just used my last fare. I just didn't have enough to buy more. They do it in Seattle. They do it in San Francisco. They provide subsidies for low-income individuals. Why not New York City? So I want to thank Community Service Society and the Riders Alliance and Community Voices Heard and Make the Road for being here, and of course the controller of the City of New York, Scott Stringer. And 1 year ago we stood here and we called for a reduced fare for the too many New Yorkers who cannot afford Metro cards. And here we are 1 year later, and we're still reiterating our call, because as we take all of the great steps in City Hall to address income inequality, from affordable housing to create good jobs, we really need to focus on public transportation. No New Yorker should have to choose between traveling to an interview or having a hot meal. I have represented a significant number of individuals in the criminal justice system who are arrested for not paying their fare. It's called theft of services. It's really not theft of services. Oftentimes, it's required because they have to get to work and they just don't have the means. And so most judges tend to reduce their cases or dismiss their cases, recognizing the economic impact. And so we in the city can address that, because no New Yorker should have to choose between traveling to see their doctor or paying their bills. No New Yorker should have to make a decision as to whether or not they should jump the turnstile to get to work. But the annual cost of purchasing a 30-day unlimited Metro card is about $1,400, which is nearly 12% of the annual income of an individual of low means. And too many New Yorkers can't afford the upfront price of an unlimited monthly card. So they load their cards $10 or $20 at a time. Ultimately, it's a much higher cost. So it comes to no surprise that, according to the report CSS is releasing today, 1/4 of poor New Yorkers say they are unable to afford the subway fare. And this burden falls hard on communities of color. Reduced fare programs already exist throughout the country: Seattle, San Francisco, and several smaller cities. They offer this necessary relief to their residents in need, and we should be leading the way. New York should be leading the way. New York should be leading the way. We should not be following behind. If we truly are a progressive city, let's demonstrate it by, again, addressing income inequality, by providing for affordable housing, higher paid jobs, and also making sure that we address the needs of low-income people so that they can get to work, they can get to the doctor, by providing them some subsidies to reduce the fare. Thank you so much, Mr. Jones.